Imagine this. You're scrolling through your phone, minding your own business, when suddenly, a post flashes across your screen. A quote, an image, and in bold letters it says, Islam teaches Muslims to drink camel urine. You freeze. Your heart races. You can already hear the voices of those who mock Islam using this claim. Some are laughing, some are disgusted, and some are outright calling it superstition. And maybe deep down inside, a little voice in your mind is asking, wait, is this actually true? This is exactly how Shaitan works. He waits for a moment of ignorance, a split second of doubt, and he plants a seed. That seed, if left unattended, can grow into full rejection of a part of our deen. Today, we are going to clear the fog. We are going to walk together through the Quran, the Sunnah, the context, the logic, the medical perspective, and the personal stories, until by the end of this journey, you will see this topic not as something strange, but as another proof that Islam's teachings, when authentic, are always rooted in wisdom. So, stay with me till the end. What you are about to hear might not only strengthen your faith, but also give you the knowledge and confidence to answer anyone who brings up this issue. This question comes up every now and then, often with a smirk, or in an online debate. So, do you drink camel urine? Usually, it's thrown at Muslims to mock or embarrass them. Many of us, because we haven't studied this topic, are caught off guard. Some even feel ashamed, as if it's something strange or irrational. Others immediately reject it without thinking, no way, that can't be in Islam. But here's the thing, as Muslims, our compass is the Quran and the Sunnah. When we hear something about Islam, we don't just go with emotions. We don't just say it makes sense, or it doesn't make sense. We go back to our sources, verify authenticity, understand context, and then make our judgment. That's the path of knowledge. That's the path of true faith. So, let's start with authenticity. Is there really such a narration? The answer is yes, and it's not a weak or questionable report. It's found in Sahih al-Bukhari and other authentic books of Hadith, which means it's among the highest level of authenticity in Islam. The narration tells us that a group from the tribe of Ucl or Urena came to Medina, accepted Islam, and pledged allegiance to the Prophet Muhammad. But soon after arriving, they fell ill. You see, Medina had a climate and environment that often made newcomers sick. This was well known at the time. So, the Prophet Muhammad gave them a prescription. Go to the outskirts of Medina, where the charity camels of Zakah were kept, and drink from their milk and urine. As a form of medicine, they followed his instruction. After some time, they regained their health. The hadith continues with other details about their later actions. But for our discussion, the key point is, the Prophet Muhammad, in this specific case, instructed them to consume camel milk and urine as a treatment. Now, for many modern listeners, this is where the shock sets in. They say, urine? Seriously? Our immediate reaction is disgust. And that's natural. Because urine, as we generally know it, is impure and harmful to consume. But here's where we must pause and remember, not everything that seems strange to us is wrong. Not everything that's unfamiliar is false. Think about it. If you told someone 500 years ago that you were going to inject yourself with snake venom to save your life, they would think you were insane. But today, we know that certain antivenoms are literally made from venom. We know that medicines sometimes contain substances that, in other contexts, could be harmful or disgusting. The difference lies in dosage, preparation, and purpose. So, before we judge something as illogical, we have to admit that our personal comfort level is not the measure of truth. The measure is it proven? Is it authentic? Is it in line with the principles of Islam? Here's where it gets interesting. Many Muslims reject this hadith instantly because it sounds strange. But the same Muslims, if tomorrow Harvard or Oxford released a study saying, camel urine contains compounds that help certain illnesses, would suddenly say, oh, maybe it's true. This exposes a weakness in our approach. If we only accept something from the Prophet Muhammad after science confirms it, then our faith is not in the Prophet Muhammad, it's in science. The Muslim approach is different. If the hadith is authentic, we believe it, whether science confirms it, today, tomorrow, or never. Our belief remains. I personally know someone, a colleague from my teaching days, who faced a life-threatening illness. He had intestinal cancer. A large part of his intestines was removed, yet the cancer kept spreading. His doctors eventually said, we have no cure for you. With no medical options left, he turned to the treatment mentioned in the hadith. For 5 months, every single day, he drank a mixture of camel milk and camel urine. When he returned to his doctors for a checkup, they were stunned. The cancer was gone. This man swore by Allah that his health was restored completely, and years later, he was still drinking it, and felt as strong as ever now. Does this mean everyone should rush out and do the same? No, because in Islam, we don't make something a general rule for everyone based on one case. But it shows that this prophetic prescription was not random or baseless. It had real results. This leads us to a key principle. When the Prophet Muhammad risks something as a treatment, it is never based on superstition. Either it has a direct spiritual benefit, a physical benefit, or both. In the case of camel urine, the hadith shows it was for physical healing, and modern research, yes, research has, in some cases, found potential medicinal properties in camel products. But even if there were no research, the Muslim position is simple. If it's authentically from the Prophet Muhammad, trust it, full stop. So, how should you respond when someone mocks this hadith? You stay calm, you don't get emotional, and you explain three things. Yes, it's authentic. It's in Sahih al-Bukhari, which is the most authentic book after the Quran. It was medicinal. It wasn't a daily habit or religious ritual. It was a specific prescription for a specific illness. Faith isn't based on disgust. Just because something sounds strange doesn't make it false. And then you can turn the question back to them. If science proved tomorrow that camel urine had healing properties, would you believe it then? If so, why do you trust science more than the Prophet? We also need balance. Just because this hadith exists doesn't mean every Muslim should start drinking camel urine daily, just in case. That's not how prophetic medicine works. It's about using it where appropriate, for the right conditions, and ideally, under knowledgeable guidance. My dear brothers and sisters, the camel urine hadith is not something to be ashamed of. It's a reminder that faith sometimes calls us to trust beyond what we understand in the moment. It's a reminder that the Prophet's guidance covered both the seen and the unseen, the spiritual and the physical. Next time you hear someone bring this up, don't shy away. Stand firm. Explain the context. Share the authenticity. And remember, we don't follow trends, we follow truth. This is Islamic Echoes, where we bring you the clarity you need to live with confidence in your faith. If this video gave you understanding and strength, share it with others who might be confused. Subscribe for more content that connects your heart to the truth of Islam. And as always, keep your tongue moist with the remembrance of Allah, because the real cure for every sickness, physical or spiritual, begins with Him.